Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we are going to be attempting a very unusual looking puzzle today. This is not a Sudoku puzzle, it is a fillomino mixed up with thermos. And it even says puzzle in the middle of it. Now this is by PulverizingPancake. Now PulverizingPancake is basically a genius, so this puzzle ought to be splendid. We've had it recommended to us about 12 times already, which is quite incredible. Apparently it is most beautiful, not just in terms of its aesthetics, but in terms of its logical solve. So I'm looking forward to this immensely, and I'll read you the rules in just a second. 2 or 3 things to mention first. We are going to stream tomorrow night for the first time in a while. So 10 o'clock UK time, we're going to be trying to stream a game called The Last Cube, which is a brand new puzzle game. I have just downloaded it. I haven't checked my computer can run it yet. I hope it will be okay. But we've known about this game for a while, and I've seen the previews to it, and it looked very interesting indeed. So I hope it will be good. Don't blame me if it's not. But we'd love to have your company tomorrow night. As I say, 10 o'clock UK time, if you're interested. Now, what else did I need to mention? Yes, over on Patreon, Mark has just released a crossword solve, and this is of the Times Club Monthly Special, which is the brutal cryptic crossword that appears monthly on the Times website. It's well worth watching that video if you have any interest in cryptic crosswords, because it is crazy. It is crazy that anybody on the planet can get through that puzzle with or without. Well, no, with a dictionary is doable. Without a dictionary, which is how Mark tries to do it, is not really doable. Trust me. So that's over on Patreon right now. You've still got 10 days to get your solutions in, by the way, to this month's monthly reward Sudoku hunt as well. So check that out if you've not had a chance to look at it already. Now, all that said and done, let's get on with Thermo fillomino. And these are the rules. Each cell is part of a region, and regions of the same size can touch each other diagonally but not orthogonally. So what that means is we've got to divide the whole grid into different sized regions. Let's imagine we worked out this was a region, so that would be a size 4 region. We can even put the 4s in like this. Now, what we could not do is put another size 4 region there, because these two size 4 regions would touch one another orthogonally. That means sharing a long edge, which is happening in this cell here. That's bad. So what we could do, on the other hand, is, if I can get the software to do it, we could put a 4 in there and have 2 4 regions touching one another just at a point diagonally. That's fine. So that's how fillomino works. We have to divide the whole grid in that manner. Now, cells on thermometers are in regions of strictly increasing size starting from the bulb end. E.g., if the bulb is in a region of size 2, so let's imagine that was a 2. That would be saying that this cell here is in a region of size 2. Let's make that the region. Then the next cell along the thermo is in a region of at least size 3. So this would have to then be in a region of at least size 3, etc. So it's a fascinating idea for a rule set, and I hope will lead to an interesting solve. We shall see in just a moment. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. I will in fact include 2 links. I'm going to be playing it in our software, just because I'm so used to it, but there is a version of this in Pemper as well, which I think has automatic answer checking in the software too. So if you like Pemper software, definitely check it out in that form. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And we shall start off by doing what? We shall start off, I suppose, by... Yeah, okay. Yes, in fact, there's an obvious way to start off here. Every cell on a thermometer must be in a different fillomino region, because obviously if this is a 1, that's a 2, that's a 3, that's a 4, that's a 5, and that's a 6. That needn't be the way the thermometer works. Oh, I've just had another thought. I've had 2 thoughts. Right, so if this thermo went 1, let's in fact do it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's no particular reason it needs to do this, but let's imagine it did do this. Then obviously, as Maverick flies past outside my window again, this region here is in a size 2 region, this is in a size 1 region, and this is in a size 3 region. So every cell along the thermometer must be in a different fillomino region. That's one of the things I've noticed. Now the next thing I've noticed is that this cell here, which I've labelled as 6, I was sort of thinking in Sudoku terms that this couldn't be greater than 9. And I was about to fill in this thermometer as sort of 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, etc. all the way to the end. But that's not right, is it? In fact, it's not right anyway. It would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, because that could be 6, 7, 8, 9. Because this square could be like a 20 or something. There's no reason. I don't think there's a reason in this puzzle why thermos have to, why phillomino areas are limited to just size 9. So we may have to look out for that. So let's, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to pen tool, I think. I hope the pen, no, the pen tool is on. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw lines between every cell on the thermos. Yeah, oh, but no, there isn't one there because this is not on the thermo. This is a strange shaped grid today, so every single thermo cell must be separated from its neighbour. But I suppose we don't know. That could be in the same region. It's possible for this bulb to be in the same region as the third cell on this Z thermometer. Yeah, okay. It's not possible for these two to be in the same. It's not possible for those two to be in the same. So we get a sort of weird division of this Z shape. It's probably a simpler division of the U, or division of the U shape. Yeah, we can sort of make that into an extended noughts and crosses board. That one we can do. Well, we must do the equivalent of the Z we've just done. So that must be the way that Z divides. Those must be divisions. Those must be divisions. Those must be divisions, that must be a division, that must be a division, that must be a division. And nori, how do we do the E? We can do the E like that. Like that. I'm wondering, like that. Now in Sudoku, you obviously couldn't do that, because that would break the rules of Sudoku. In Philomeno Thermo, I'm not so sure. If that's 1, 2, if that's like a, if that's 6, 7, and they were both 8, does that break any rules? I'm not sure. I don't think. I think these two might be able to be in the same region. But I tell you what we can do. That bulb can't be in the same as either of these two. So we can divide the bulb off. Okay, so has that helped us at all? The answer is, well, yes, it has a bit actually, because this the crux of the E here, the midpoint of the E, that's got to be a positive number that's not 1, because we could put 1 on the, in fact it's at least a 3. So it must come out to at least take this cell next to it. Oh. Oh, that's the same. That's the same, got the same characteristic. Look, this cell can't be a 1, so it must come out. That cell must come out. Now this is where it's going to get tricky, because there's no... Oh, actually there is a reason that yellow and red can't be the same. But is it possible, say, for red? Yeah, we've just got to be careful that we don't assume that different colours are in different regions, because they might be able to be in the same region. That cell needs its own special colour, because that's neither yellow or purple. But here, green could perhaps be red, so we have to bear that in mind. That cell is going to come out and hit that thermometer, so that's a little bit interesting. That cell's got to drop down. Let's make that red in the hope that reds don't join up to each other. So this square here, that's also got to be a different colour. I will make that one grey. Does grey show up? It does. Grey does show up. Well done, Sven. So that one's going to come out. That's going to be horrible though, because that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. So I'll make that yellow in the hope it doesn't meet that yellow. But here, that could be grey. I don't think it can be blue. I don't see how it could join blue without going through this cell, which would force it not to be blue. I'm not sure it can be red for the same reason. Right, so let's look at that cell. That's got to come out to there. That's interesting. It's actually got to come out to there. I can draw those three in as a region because this cell, looking at this cell's thermo property, it's at least a 2. But looking at this cell's thermo property, this is the third cell on its thermo. So that means this must be part of a region of at least size 3. So I can draw in another boundary there. Because obviously this bulb is in a different size region to the sort of the third cell on its own thermo. And yes, and the same is true there. That's got to be divided off from this little cell here. So that little cell must drop down. Now, does that mean... Okay, so this linkage that we've got between greens now and these two thermos, this thermo and this thermo, is quite interesting for these two cells, which can no longer be part of the same region, because this must be lower than green by thermo logic, and this must be higher than green by thermo logic. So those two are not in the same region, which means that little cell there has to come out and join its friends above it. And now I've got a problem. Hang on, I'm now wondering what that joins up to. Because that must be... Hang on, I'm going to put some digits in here. That's at least a 3. That's at least a 4. That's at least a 5. That's at least a 6. That's at least a 7. And I'm I suppose it could join up with... It could join up to blue or orange, couldn't it, this square? In fact, and now we can see this square is not yellow because it's on the same thermo as yellow and must be higher than it. And it can't live in those 6 cells, so it must join to either blue or orange. And if it joins to blue... No, it can't join... Oh, this is really clever. It can't join to blue because blue is not in the same region as this bulb, so it can't take that cell. So if it joins to blue, it takes that U pentomino shape like that. And now it can't take this cell because that cell's on a thermo with a blue cell. It can't take this cell because that's on a thermo with a blue cell. So it must take these two cells, but we already know that this digit is axiomatically by thermo logic higher than that cell, so there's no way it does that. So I think that's orange, and that means that it takes these cells. And I suppose, no, the other thing is it's at least 7, so it could be astronomically large. Oh, and I've got a digit, that's a 1. I'll give that its own colour then, so it sort of sticks out. Now, oh, look, you can't make that 7 at least, because that's going to... Oh, no, you can't. I was about to say that's going to make this thermo end higher than 9, but of course it could be higher than 9 in this puzzle. But what you can't do is if that's 7, this would be 8 and would have nowhere to go because of the structure of this thermo and this thermo. It's boxed in. In fact, this now has to be quite a small region because it can't go anywhere to its right. Oh, could it be yellow? No, it can't be yellow, because to be yellow, for yellow and blue to be the same, it has to come through this digit, which is axiomatically not blue. So this digit is a 2 or a 3. That digit's the same, obviously, it's a 2 or a 3. Oh, so now orange doesn't join here. Orange could take this square, but orange must take this square, because we know orange is 7. Orange can't take that square, so we can divide orange off from that square. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere, because not only do we know that this obviously is at least a 7, because it's the same as orange, which is a 7, it's got a thermo of its own, this sort of question mark thermo, which means that cell is at least an 8 and is not orange. So that's sort of a region we need to start building. We shall make this region, what should we make it? Should we make it grey? Yeah, that grey's unlikely to hit that grey, isn't it? Or maybe I could, what else have I got available? No, I think maybe I'll make it blue. I think blue, I can slightly see the thermos better against the blue background. So this has to be size 8, and this can't get these cells. So I can see it's going to have to come out through the bottom somewhere. I was wondering whether it can really come out through this cell. Because if it really comes out through this cell has to be part of a 9 region at least. And I don't know if there's going to be enough room for it to do that. That sort of seems unlikely, doesn't it? But unlikeliness and actually being impossible are not the same things. So that's 3, that would be 2, that would be 1. This digit's a 1 or a 2, because that's before a cell that has to be part of a 2 or a 3 region. So this is a 1 or a 2. Okay, that's not a 2. Because if that's a 2, it has to take those 2 cells, and now the blue region would also be of size 2, and you'd have 2 2 regions connecting to each other. So that's a 1, which means it gets blackened and surrounded in a greeny type colour. Now that's annoying. It doesn't actually tell us whether the blue takes this cell or not. So we still don't know what this is doing. That's at least a 3, that's at least a 4, that's at least a 5, that's at least a 6. Okay, sorry, I'm not seeing what to do now, if I'm honest with you. So I must also remember all these pencil marks are not necessarily correct, i.e. this 7 could be bigger than 7. I just put the minimum in. Oh, this 6, does it have to go down there? Oh, oh no, okay. No, hang on, I've got to be very careful here. I was thinking this 6 was penned in by the grey, but I'm not sure it is. Yeah, all I was doing was labelling this thermo. So this 6 could come through here, or could go down there. Now if it goes down there, that looks difficult, because that's going to pen this 5 in. 1, 2, 3. It's also going to make that have to be at least a 7. 1, 2, 3. If this comes down here, that's got to be a different region. So let's make that one blue. So that would go down here. This would come down here. It would have to drop into the bottom row. It would have to. The blue can only get out like that. The purple can only get out like that. Now what's wrong with that? The answer is nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. bobbins. Okay, sorry. I was hoping that might sandwich this region in an uncomfortable way, in a way where it will get claustrophobic, but I don't think it does. Right, so maybe I can work harder on this stuff over here. So if we I find it, well, yeah, this blue region cannot take this cell, because then that would be part of a region of at least size 8. This would need to be a region of at least 9, and we know that this blue is greater than this orange. So this 9 region couldn't meet the orange and would have to be one cell, and that's a contradiction which wouldn't be logical. So this square is not blue, but that one probably can be. So the maximum number, we can get one cell still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to take one of these, and almost certainly this one, but maybe not. Maybe that's not forced. So if we did something like that, yeah, then I think you might be able to get a 9 out along the bottom. Look. Although again, this feels like it's putting pressure over on this side of the grid. Oh, I've got it. Right. Yes. Okay. The way to think about this is, okay, we force this to all come this way if the 6 comes down here. But if the 6 takes that cell instead, what's this digit? Well, what it is not is 5. It cannot be the same as this, because this digit on this thermometer, that's become a 6, so this is at least a 7. And because this is lower than 6, these two could not be part of the same region. So whether this comes to this square or comes to this square, this doesn't join this. This is going to be very hard to actually show, I think. 2, 3. If that's a 2, 3, that's at least a 4. So whatever's in this square has to come out this way, for sure. No, that's wrong. Or it might, no, actually it might be right. It might be right. I'm just trying to work out in my, yeah, because this 6 cannot take both of those cells. That's impossible because those are on the same thermo. So if it takes this cell, this is at least a 4 and has to take that cell. If this takes this cell, it can't take this cell. So yes, okay, so those two are in the same region. But I don't know whether it's 6 or not. And if the 6 doesn't take this square and comes down here, that cell has to extend downwards. And if it's come this way, this cell would be a higher... Yeah, this right, now I understand. Okay, so now I think we have to think about... We've proved this 5 is not in the same region as this cell here. So we have to start extending the 5 down. So the 5 should go down... Let's make it blue. It's got to come to here. But now what does this do? If this is part of the 6 can't come there, so it's got to come down again. If it's not part of the 6, it's part of a region that's at least 7 in size, so it's still got to come down again. And now we have blocked off the 5. So the 5 has to come along the bottom to there. Oh no, it might not be 5. No. Oh, this is tricky. But it definitely comes at least that far. Okay, so it takes those cells, at least, maybe more. But the 4, now, the 4 pens in the 3. So the 3 is a 3. That 3 is true. And that 3 is true because this 4, we know it might be bigger than 4, but we know it's got to come to at least those cells. And that's penned in our 3, look. So, right. Now, now I think what we've got to do now is to argue about whether this could possibly join up with this or that. And the answer to that is surely no. Okay, let's test that hypothesis. If this 8 was to join up with this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it would be at least a 9. But this is no, that's getting very... The problem is this square now is at least a 2, isn't it? So actually I need to draw that line segment in, which I hadn't appreciated. So this is, in fact, this is a 2, because this being a 3, it's clipping this thermo, which I've only just spotted again. So that's 3, so that must be 2, and that must be 1. And now, that's surely going to use up too many spaces for my 8 region. How is that 8 region going to get to the size it needs to be? So the 8 region has to come down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It might take one, it can only take that digit. Yeah, that digit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's got to come one more. At least. But surely the point is now that if this did join up here, that's going to break this region. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That would make this region at least size 11. Oh, no, hang on. This is easier. That square can't be a 1 or a 2. So that's at least a 3. So that's coming down here. This is really interesting, isn't it? It's really clever. So now this is at least 3. It can't join that. Can it join this one? No. Or maybe yes. Actually, hang on. Hang on, I'm getting confused now as to what. So this is a 4. This is a totally unrelated thermo. So it can be anything. So if this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, if this was a 6, that would work with this being an 8. It would force this upwards, though, to have to be at least 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. I'm not sure I can... I feel like I should be able to resolve this, but I'm not doing a very good job of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got to take that square. Okay. So maybe... I really want to resolve how this works down in the bottom left-hand corner of the puzzle. The way it works is this has free reign. It can be 3. What it can't be, interestingly, is 4. Because if it's 4, it would have to take those cells, and that would make it the same size as that region. So this is either 3, or it's... Oh, it can't join this because of this barrier. So it's either 3, or it's joining up with... Or it's joining purple, which is 4. Or could it even join with that one? Oh, maybe that doesn't work because of this, the way this thermo interacts with this thermo. Good grief, this is very complicated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But this one would be limited to lower than 9, so that doesn't work. So we know that 3 here doesn't join to the 5 here. So the only question I'm left with is, does it join? Does it join to the 4? Which would make the 4 into a 6 at least. Which would make this region here... Oh, no, it might all get capped out by the maximum size of this, you know. That might be what we have to think about. How big can we make the orange region at the top of the grid? The answer to that is it's 6 at the moment. We know it's at least 7 from its thermo, so it could take that square, and it could pick up one more. So this is 7 or 8, which means this is 6 or 7, this is 5 or 6, and this is 4 or 5. Ah, that's it. That's the way we had to think about it. We had to approach it from the top of the grid downwards. Now this can't be 6, so this can't join up to anything else. We know this can't be 4, so this must be 3, which means that square has now become red. I don't know what that means in terms of fillomino regions of this 4-5 region, but it surely does something to this 8 region now. Well, it must be of size 8, and we now know its 8th square is here, because it can't be the bulb. So this is all of size 8. Let's fill it in actually. This is all of size 3. This must be a 1 in the corner, for it is the only cell available to it. So that gets drawn in, that gets drawn in. Oh, now my orange region is capped out at size 7, look. So that's forced. It can't be of size 8, there's simply not enough room for it. So all of those turn into 7s, which forces this down on the thermo to be 6, that to be 5, that to be 4. And that's fine because that cell can be a 1, I think. So that's a 1, which gets, what colour are we making 1s? Black. All of that gets done, all of that gets done. We can fill in the numbers, let's do that. These become 5s. And we still don't know which way the 6 goes. But this digit has to be a 1 or a 2, I've just noticed. It can't be a 1, there's already a 1 in its row. No, just joking, that's a Sudoku rule. Doesn't apply here, at least not today. So, So one thing I'm wondering about is if that 6 comes through here, that makes these have to be at least 7, 8, 9, which seems too much to have to cram into the bottom of this grid. Is that true? I can't quite visualize whether it is actually broken. It feels broken. If this 6 comes through here, hang on, let me just check this. It would take those two. It's hit this thermo already, so it can't take another cell of the Z. So it would have to take those cells and one more, but that wouldn't have to be down here. Could perhaps be there. Now this would be at least a 7. This would be at least an 8, and this would be at least a 9. So the 7 would have to go 5, 6. Yeah, there's not enough space. The 7, because of the way the 8 and the 7 would move sort of snakily together, you'd have this sort of pattern, wouldn't you? The 7, I think, would have to do that. The 8 can't hit the 9, so it would have to do this. The 9 now, where is the 9 going? It can't take 2 cells on a... Yeah, it's totally broken. It's absolutely broken. There's just not enough room. It can't escape. That's the problem. The only escape valve is here, and that's not even available. You could join the 8 up with there, but now the 9 can't even hit this square. Yeah, there's just not enough space. It's too cramped. So the 6 does not, so the 6 doesn't take this square, the 6 turns down. So the 6 is finished. That's the only way it can look, given we know its size already. So that's all forced. Now that puts a lot less pressure, unfortunately, on this square, which is at least 7. So 7, 7, 7, 8. Yeah, and the 8s, so this is a different region, isn't it? This region here is different. It's now its only criteria is that it's less than 6. So, and higher than, well, if that's 1, oh, This is done. Yeah, this blue region's done. It can't grow. That's great. So we actually know it. So that's a 2. That's a 1, therefore. And we can fill in the colours and do the outlining. Oh, that's an unexpected bonus. So now that's a 3, and that's a 4 at least. But this cannot be greater than 5 because it goes up to 6 on its thermo. This cannot be greater than 4, therefore. So we've actually... So this comes out, and we shall use... What colour shall we use for that? We shall use green... Oh, no. See, that I don't know whether it's going to run into that or not. I will use... Maybe I'll use grey for that one. So this is grey coming out. This is coming out here. We'll make that red because I can't think that, that's going to connect to that. This one is part of a region that's got to start in this direction. I'll make that green just in the hope these don't meet up. So the grey has got to come out again. The grey is at least 4, so it's got to come out again. So does the grey hit this or this? Oh, if the grey hit this, this thermo would be massive. This would be a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 type thing. That's surely impossible. It is impossible. I can see that's impossible. So this is red. This is actually quite awkward. So this 7, don't know if you can hear that bird outside my window though, it's very persistent. How do we do this? How do we do this simply? That's the question I'm asking myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is at least a 5. Which would I sort of want to do that. But that's going to mean that 8 has to take this in order to allow the 7 to be working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be forced. I'm not sure whether that can really be a 9 if we did that. That doesn't look likely. So maybe this... But if this doesn't take... Oh no, it can just stop, can't it? It can just be a size 4. That's probably what it is then. If it's just size 4, it ends, and then we could have much lower numbers on this thermo at the start. I don't know. It feels to me like the correct thing to think about here is whether this 8 joins there. Because if it does, the world seems to be a broken place, doesn't it? Yeah, it doesn't work. Surely it doesn't work. Because if this region, which is at least of size 8, flicks this cell, then this is a 9 at least. But we've now got to fit the 8 and the 7. Well, you can see you can't fit them into this space. So one of them has got to get out here, which will have to be the 8 because there's not enough room. So the 8's got to do that. And now there's no way to connect the 8 to the bit of the 8 which would be necessary because the 7 has to take the remaining space and it doesn't work. And that's beautiful because that means this square is not 8, which pushes the 8 down, which pushes the 7 across. Oh, I might have broken it for a different reason now, because now how do we... I know this is not the 8. Does that mean that has to be the 8? So actually we might formally have proved that green and purple are the same colours, which is another wonderful sentence to get to say. Yeah, I know green doesn't hit this. So green must extend one more to here. Green doesn't take that square, so green must become purple. So red, this must come to here. We don't know. Again, this could be growing. These are minimums, so we could have to go further. This digit now can't be a 1. It can't be a 1. Because it's so far along the thermo, so it must join to another colour, and therefore it must join to grey. That's beautiful. So now, this is fixed. It must be 5, because it can't be any other total from our thermo logic. So that's done. 4, 3. Oh, yeah. Look, 4, 3, 2, 1. That whole thermo's done. 4, 3, 2, 1. So now we get this region done. We get that's got to be black. We get this is drawn in. This, yeah, okay, this must be 4. Because if it's 3, which is its only other option, this cell would be isolated and have to be a 1, which would touch the 1 beneath it. And we can't have that. So that must be, these must all be equal to 4. Now, I'm not sure about that. This is green. Why is that green? Is that just because of the colour I made it on the thermo? I think this is definitely not green now, because the green beneath it really is green. We proved that. So that'll be purple. 1, 2, 3. This is at least a... Oh no, it is a 4. It is a 4 because it's between 5 and 3 on the thermo. So that 4 comes out here. That 3 is broken. No, it's not. In fact, it's beautiful. That 3 is red now. Because these two are part of the same region, this 3, if it was to connect up here, would not have a space to go to pick up its third cell. So that must be a 3 region, which isolates this digit here, which must therefore be a 1 region. The 4 can't turn down because this is on the thermo, so it must carry on into that cell. And 1 more as well, which might be here or might be there. This digit is, let's make that yellow. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got to come here. Oh, but we could drop down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we could take that cell, couldn't we? But we don't know what size this is. I keep wanting to bound this off. So, but this digit now is at least a 9. So it's got to come to there. That's most certainly true, isn't it? Now if it hits this, that breaks the world. Yeah. If the 9 hits this digit needs to be a 10 at least, and the 4 would have nowhere to join, which breaks the puzzle. In fact, the easier way to see this is to see that 4 is now forced, which means this square is a 3 or a 2, and that's a 1 or a 2. Now the 9 must go down, which means the 8 must go down, which means the 7 is bounded. There we go. So the 7 is 7. In fact, the 9 is bounded as well. Look at this. Because this digit must come down. This one here, that must come down. We'll make this grey. And now the 9 must come along the bottom, which has bounded the thing that had a minimum value of 8 as an 8. So this is all slowly coming together now. Now this is 2 or 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is at least 5, so let's put that minimum in. That's at least 5, that's at least 4. So these could join together, but they needn't necessarily do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd love to know if this was 3 or 2. If this was 3, it would push this one over. Okay. This blue region now, which is at least a 3 from its E shape, can't join to that region, which means it must go up. So this region here, which is at least 3, must come into this cell. But does that mean it's not... Could it still join to there? The answer is perhaps. Yeah, I've got to bear in mind these are all minimums, so even a W pentomino there might be possible. Not sure. So that's at least a 2, so that's now got to come up here. Everything's getting incredibly cluttered. So this can't be that big. And this... this is getting very difficult, actually. That's at least a 5. So how does this... If this joined to that, this 3 would be broken, because this should be higher on the thermo than this region. So this 5 doesn't join to this, so it must join to blue, which forces the minimum up in blue from 3 to 4. Oh no, it must be at least 5, because this must be at least 5. So it probably joins here. Yeah, if that's a 5 and then that's a 3, you could fill that in, but that might be a 1 on its own. Now if this 4... Oh! Yes, well this can't be 4 joining to the 2 region, because that would bound this region at size 4, which it cannot be, for 2 reasons. Firstly, it needs to be at least size 5. Secondly, it would be a 4 touching a 4. So this, I want to say, has to join here. And of course, that means this could be a 6 region. Ah! Oh. I think this has to be blue. So that's good, which means it's at least 5. But what I don't think we know is the nature of this digit. This has to be at least 6 because it's higher on the thermo than this. So that's at least 6. That's at least 6. Surely those 2 regions can't join together because that's got to be higher again. Yeah, that's at least 6. That's at least 7. Ugh, this looks very difficult now. How does this do that? How does this reach size 6? Leave this to be at least a 7 and not block in the 9. That's my worry now. These are the things we worry about in the world. It's better than some of the other things we can worry about. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ah! This is horrible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We must take those 2 squares with yellow. We simply must. So that means that this 6 has got to come, it's got to hit the bulb here. There's not enough room. You see, that means this, which could be part of the 7, even if I take those cells, and that cell, and that cell, that's all the cells I can take. That's only 6. It's not enough. So that's telling me, I think, but I could be wrong, that yellow cannot coexist in a world where it is not red. I'm going to double check that, because that is, if it's correct, it's obviously an enormous deduction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If red and yellow are different, these 2 have to be yellow, and one more, which I'm saying is going to be this one. Now red can't be the same as this, so has to pick up those digits, which means this is at least a 7, and cannot, and that's, well, hang on, that's at least an 8, which is total nonsense. That's the easy way of seeing it. That cannot be 8. Given this is 7, even if you could somehow squirrel it away, there's no way for this to be 8. Oh, I suppose, no, could it join up to that if that's an enormous region? Oh, bobbins. Okay, so we do have to, we do have to test whether that's a 7. If we assume that's yellow, and we're creating the world's biggest region down here, then maybe this could work. If I can fit 7 in here. Right, 1, 2. No, my 6 is broken now. Oh no, my 6 is broken. I can't make this yellow. So it has to be a different region. It has to be at least 8, and there's not enough room. Right, okay, that is good. I'm happy with that. So, what's that telling us? That is telling us that this is yellow. That's what it's telling us. Oh, the other... no. The corollary of that is we've broken it in a different way. Because now, if that's at least 9, that is at least 10. And that doesn't seem very likely. Oh, bother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got to take that one. So the minimum size of this yellow is to pick up one more of these cells. But this now has a minimum size of 10, which I can't actually put in the software. I'll put 0 in. Now, if I shuffle this off here, can I get this to be size 10? I don't think we can. We could make that the same as it. So let's pick up all the thermo ends. That would get us to 5. Can I pick up that thermo end? Maybe, yeah. 1, 2. So that would get me to 6, 7, 8. Oh no, it's broken. The problem here is this little thermo. Even if I minimise this thermo with 1, this still needs to be 2, and that's using up space I don't have to give. Yeah, in fact, that might be sensible to think about. 1, where does this thermo space, which is at least a 2, join up to? It cannot join up to a thing that's at least a 10, because that would make that at least an 11. So this has to coexist separately from the world. So it must go, it must take those 2 cells at least. Now that's, how on earth do I make this work now? So if that's, that could be purple, that could be purple, that cannot be. Those 2 could be. Right, I've managed to get it to size 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, is that really true? 2 L pentominos connected up. That must, well, that's absolutely ridiculous that is possible, but I think that is forced. This is at least a size 10 region. It can't go here because it's definitely on the same thermo as this, so it's capped out. It could pick up those cells maximum, this cell, this cell, this cell, this cell, and this cell without breaking anything. And it needs to be a size 10, and it can only be a size 10. That is so clever. Good grief. So this is all fixed. It's all fixed. I can't write 10 into the software, you'll have to forgive that, but now everything, the whole bottom of this region is all forced. That is 9. I thought it was 9, and it is. That's now a 1. That's now a 2. We can now fill in the colours and do the shadings like that. This is now a 2. These are all 0 then. We'll use 0 as our proxy for 10. And now we've just got to figure out what's going on at the top, and hopefully this will work somehow. Hopefully. Oh, bobinations. What's that? That doesn't look good, does it? Oh, no, maybe that could join to the 2. Oh, okay, hang on. I put 2 in here as a minimum and assumed it couldn't grow any bigger, but maybe it can. Because if this is a 1, this is at least a 2, so that's this region has to take this cell. Those 2 cells are part of the same region. Now, if this then joined up here, this would be at least a 4. This would have to be at least a 5. That doesn't work because that takes in this cell. So this would be 4, but this would be 5, so this needs to be 6, which it cannot be. So this cannot be 4, so the only thing this can be, I'm going to claim, is 2. Now that's beautiful. that is beautiful, because why is that beautiful? Well, now it cannot connect to this region as a size 2 region. So this must be a size 3 region, I think. It's the only thing it can be that's not 2, that's got enough space for it. So this is, I want to say, a W pentomino. And we can do some more shading again. So we can do this. And this is now forced to be a 1. That's got to be a 1. It can't be a 2, can't be a 3, but it must be less than 3. So this is a 1. Now, that means that's a 1, of course, in the corner. It's the only thing that can be. Now, we've got to be careful not to get any 2s or 1. Oh, that's horrible. Okay, so that can't be a 1 or a 2. So it must be a 4, I want to say. And I'm going to have to check whether that works. But let's put 4 in. It's the only legitimate way of filling in those final cells. Now, we've got a 1 going up to a 2, going up to a 4. That's fine. A 4 going up to a 10 is also fine. A 1 going up to a 3, going up to a 5, going up to a 10. That's okay. A 5 going up to a 9 going up to a 10. I think it's hard to see, admittedly, but I think it feels correct. That's brilliant. Gosh, it's another very long video. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I can't whiz through these things more quickly. But I do try and do them logically. And that was rather wonderful. Really brilliant. It's so original. I mean, there's just so much to admire about this. I love the fact that you could sort of pen regions in using the minimum values at the bottom of the grid and gradually sort of iterate around the grid and find, you know, exactly how the thermo numbers worked. Super setting, really is. Brilliant again. I'm going to ask for a slightly shorter video tomorrow. I'm sure you're all bored of these 1 hour videos. If you're not, let me know in a comment. If you are, let me know in a comment. We try and please everybody, but it is very hard to tell what the general viewer wants to see. So if you can guide us, we'd be most appreciative. But yeah, what fun we have with these puzzles. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.